really sucks to be a Barca fan sometimes. He gave us hope by scoring 6 goals in the previous game. Everybody was happy. Everybody was like, "Oh, Barcelona are back! Like 6 goals, yeah, woo, yeah, woo." So was I. So was I. I should just stop hoping. I don't even know what happened. It's tough being a Barcelona fan this season. In case you guys were living under a rock this weekend, Barcelona faced Real Madrid in the first El Clasico of the season. And let me just say, it was a bad defeat, guys. It was a bad defeat. It's one of those defeats that just sucks the morale out of a team after it happens. And there were a lot of antics going on about this game before the game, during the game, and so there's a lot to discuss here, and let's get into it. So Real Madrid started off really strong. I liked Xabi Alonso's lineup actually, the way he played Camavinga and Tchouaméni and pushed Arda Güler up front. I think that gave them a very good defensive balance. They were closing down all the tight spaces, all the gaps in the midfield in the first half, and they just like wanted it more. You could see it like in their faces, the grit, the determination, the hunger. They just like were pouncing on every tackle. They wanted every ball more than us. They were very fierce on the counter attack, guys. Mbappe, like what can you even say? He's this season he's been in like tearing form, and there's no doubting that, right? We knew that coming into the game. We knew that our high line had to be inch perfect for us to like contain Mbappe, and it did. We did. He even scored a goal that got disallowed. That was caught off by an inches right on our offside trap. Yeah, I just think we got totally outclassed in the first half. It was a very open back and forth game, right? There was attacks going Barcelona's way, and then Madrid would get the ball and then come back our way. But the difference was is that they were able to generate big chances when they were attacking us. They were able to get into our box. They were able to get a lot more shots on target. Let's look at the stats here, right? Okay, they had created 4 big chances. They had a total of 23 total shots to our 15. They forced Chesney to save the ball 9 times. It was just all out attack. They created the bigger chances. They were more dynamic. Arda Güler and Jude Bellingham were trying to feed Mbappe through the middle, and it worked multiple times. In fact, you could see it in the players. They wanted it more than us, and that was the sad thing about the whole match. Yeah, I also thought Tchouaméni and Kamavinga did a great job in the midfield. They closed down Pedri and De Jong. They didn't let Pedri and De Jong have too much time on the ball, and therefore like dictate the pace of the game and the tempo of the game. They were pressing them. They were on their toes, and that led to a lot of turnover and possession in the middle half of the pitch, which allowed Real Madrid to break into counterattacks very often. They were pretty punishing as well. So coming to a highline, I actually thought our highline today was a little bit better than we've seen in previous matches. How you know it's better is that when somebody is caught offside, right? In that instance, if you see all the 4 defenders from the left back to the right back and the center backs, if they're all in a straight line, that means they're perfectly orchestrating the offside trap really well. But in previous matches against Sevilla and PSG, you could see that when the opposition was catching us out in counterattacks, you could see that the entire backline would be disjointed. Like Jules Koundé would be in a position further down the pitch than the rest of the line, or like Araujo would mess it up and be like disjointed from the rest of the other center backs and the full backs, and then it's way more easier for the opponent, even if like one person is breaking the link, right, is breaking the chain. It's way easier for an opponent to break the lines, make like a second man run down the flank, or a third man run down the flank, or even the striker can just run down the middle if like even one person in that backline is out of order. So I thought like our backline was a bit more consistent. There were of course times where we got caught out badly, but I still think it was better than previous games. And that's a good sign. I also want to talk about how in the second half the dynamics of the game slightly shifted. We had way more of the possession of the ball. We were the ones with the maximum amount of possession. But the problem is we weren't doing anything with that possession, right? We were just mostly doing side passes. Nobody was making runs. I think that's why we really missed Rafinha tonight. Rafinha makes a lot of those runs into the box, and He helps like Pedri find him, Yamal find him. We actually really missed Rafinha tonight because the offense was like static. Nobody was moving around. Everybody is just passing from one end to the other and doing side passes. We weren't doing anything critical with the possession. But Madrid, on the other hand, once they got the ball, they were out. They were like already threatening to like score in our box in a flash of a second. And even the chances that we got, I wanted to talk about how there was one chance where we were 3-on-2, and Fermin had it in the middle of like outside the middle of the box, right? He had Rashford to his left and he had Lamine Yamal to his right. He could have just laid it off to either one of them. Both of them were actually really free because he was like sucking in the two central half defenders, and that would have been a sure shot goal, right? It's just those split second executions that really matter. Furman did have a good game. He was the only person with like 4 shots on target, right? He was the only one who was trying to do something, at least in the first half. He got himself a goal as well. Beautiful assist by Rashford, by the way. But I really think he should have passed that off, and he was being a bit selfish in that counter attack. Well, coming back to the player ratings, I think Rashford played really well. He was the one who created the most chances. Fermin played really well in the first half. In the second half, he was all right. Ferran Torres, you could tell like he is just back. He's not like in sync with the match speed, or like you can tell that he's been away for a while. His reflexes weren't as sharp, his instincts weren't as sprightly. Coming to Lamine Yamal, man, if you're gonna talk that much trash, right? If you're gonna bring down players and say stuff that they would feel humiliated by, like what else do you expect? They're gonna come after you because that's just the nature of how the competitive football landscape is. You call out somebody, you dish it out, you better be ready to receive it, right? And I just think that he invited like unwanted attention, he by saying all those comments on the podcast before the game. And what I don't like about the current, you could call it football Twitter or football social media, is that when something like this happens, right, all the focus goes on his comments, or this guy said that, or like, oh, the coach said this, or you know what. It's Football has become so reactionary. No, it took away from the essence of the game, the two lineups, the story of either team this season, how both teams are not exactly like the best they can be right now, and how it was an interesting game tactically. But no, all the coverage went towards Lamine Yamal's comments, and I really dislike. And so if you're going to speak like that, one, you have to know that you're also like asking a lot out of your teammates because they have to back up the performance and because of your comments. But two, you also have to back it up, man. You cannot be so passive. You cannot be like passing the ball away. You have to be Lamine Yamal, the Lamine Yamal that we all know and love. You can't be like talking like this and like, expecting people to be soft on you. I guess he will learn, and he has a long way to go. Obviously, we all know he's a kid, right? And he will learn. And I also think like what happened after the match was just in the heat of the moment. Like nobody really cares. Nobody is going to beat nobody in the middle of a tunnel, all right? That's not happening. But the point is that Lamine Yamal did not perform today, okay? And his comments did not help at all. It did not help the team. It did not help him. It helped only Real Madrid. Now, yes, I know we did have injuries. We're missing Rafinha, we're missing Gavi, we're missing our starting goalkeeper Joan Garcia. I do know we were not 100%, but neither was Madrid. Madrid is not playing at their best capacity right now. We knew this going in, right? So I don't know if we can make a lot of excuses for our performance. The people on the field today in Barcelona's team should have stepped up. We needed more from Pedri. We needed more from De Jong. We needed more from Kunde. We needed more from everybody. And it just didn't happen. It wasn't our night. Well, we still have a lot of time to go. The season has just started. Real Madrid are 5 points clear at the top right now as it goes. But I think it's a long season and anything can happen. And I'm just praying that the team gets healthy, guys. We need a long stint of just players being in the lineup and the lineup being consistent. Every single game, there's somebody getting injured, or somebody has a red card, or something is going on such that the team cannot build chemistry together. if you looked at last season towards the end, our team was pretty much the starting 11 was pretty much consistent throughout, like from Jan to the end of the season, right? It's just that whenever we had injuries or whenever we wanted to rest somebody, Flick would like change one or two pieces here and there. That's not the case right now because our entire front line got injured, and before that, our midfield was injured, and before that, our defense was injured. So we need a long stint of time where like everybody is just playing together and they have time to gel. I think once that happens, we will have a good run of games and hopefully we will be on the right track and save our season. Well, these have just been my thoughts, guys, after the El Clasico. Obviously, you know, it was a tough match. It was not easy, right? We went to Bernabeu, and the scoreline could have honestly been 3-1 Madrid, 4-1 Madrid, 5-1 Madrid even. They created so many chances, but we were actually lucky in a way that Chesney saved us with so many saves, and Real Madrid didn't capitalize on all the chances they had. We actually got really lucky with the 2-1 scoreline. There's something to think about, there's something to build on top of, and let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Visca Barca.